So I've been asked by Jagex to make a trailer for the upcoming Summer Summit, which is currently out now. And this trailer is going to be really cool. So what do we have to do? What do we have to make? Well, the pitch we have been given is pretty simple. We need to have a main character. They are going to be on the island, fishing away, having a nice old time. Then they're going to catch a bottle that's going to have like a scroll inside, and they're going to open the scroll, and it's going to direct them to the Summer Summit. It's currently day 1, and we are just starting. We had a bit of time to look over the files we've been given, which involves very basic world space to work with that matches their title art. First place to start is we are going to get this model exported, rigged, and cleaned up. One of the things we're going to do is we're going to use a program called Quotat to export the Crazy Archaeologist model, which will feature as our main character. The Crazy Archaeologist is the model that they chose to use for their promotional material, so we're going to keep that going. We're going to export them, clean them up, and get them rigged. Done. How good does that model look? Man, it looks so good. Now what we're going to do is we're going to get ourselves a fishing rod. A fishing rod is also going to need to be rigged. So rigging the fishing rod is probably going to take a couple of minutes, but once that's set up, it'll allow us to bend the fishing rod. We now have our character rigged, and we have our fishing reel rigged. What we're going to do now is we're going to get started on the animation side of things. Now, Jagex have provided us with a lovely detailed map, which we are going to use, and that matches their promotional material. And what we are going to do is take that map, and we're going to get some nice cinematic shots to start off with. We've made some tweaks to the water and lighting just to make it a bit better for animation when it looks like it's in motion. Once that's done, what we're going to do is then get started animating our character who's going to be reeling in the fish. So let's dive in. There we have it. Day 1 is complete. Today what we did is we got our establishing shot set up, and it looks really good. And then we also got our shot set up that involves the casting animation. The casting animation was a little bit tough. There was a moment where I was having a bit of trouble with the rod and how it bends. It just wasn't behaving the way I wanted it to. But we sorted that out pretty easy. And yeah, tomorrow we are going to be having Blue Scrolls break, which is going to be really fun. It's day 2. So my computer has been rendering overnight, and it's still rendering now. So last night I rendered everything off, and it's taken about 12 hours. Yeah, 12 hours of render time, and we're ready to dive into day 2. Today what we're going to be working on is a little bit complex. It is the second part of the animation, and what it involves is we need to get our fish catching animation done. We need the clue scroll bottle to fly over his head and then land on the ground and shatter. And as that happens, he needs to turn around, look, inspect the bottle, and then, like Harry Potter writing into Tom Riddle's diary, he needs to be absorbed and sucked into it. It's very difficult to have someone be absorbed into a book and make it look believable. So the other option is we have them literally be sucked in, warped, stretched, and all that, and that could look pretty cool too. We also got to make sure that we have them drop the fishing rod, and I was kind of thinking it might be cool if their hat doesn't get sucked in or something. So the core thing we're animating now is the moment where they catch the clue scroll bottle, so they're going to have the rod bend and they're going to react and move and jiggle, do all that funky stuff. One of the hard things is going to be creating the model of the shattered clue scroll bottle, but that should be pretty easy. We're going to use the old cell fracture. Sound design is going to be what really carries this. If we get the sound design wrong, then it won't work altogether. In the render last night, we forgot to render the boat. The boat was disabled, so I may have to render about 500 frames all over again. So that's what we're making. I think I said everything I could possibly say. So, we now have our glass bottles all done and our scroll complete. We now need to make sure that we have a graphic added over the top to go in and do like intricate materials and texturing and all that good stuff. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into Photoshop and get that logo start to put together with some nice text that says "Come to the Summer Sun." And we're going to pop that in as an image as plain, and that's going to suck them in. Usually it's a bit nicer to simply putting it in, so that just gets messy real fast. So yeah. Let's dive into some design for the clue scroll. So we now have our scroll and our bottle complete. And our next step from here is we're going to now take that and put it into our scene that we're working on. It actually was pretty easy to get the scroll together. I thought it was going to be a real challenge, but it came out not so bad. My concern is that this material on the bottle might be a bit intense, but it does look really good. Like, look at those little cracks and things like that. So spicy. Voila! I now have behind me a animation. It's come together, we have got it done. We have now got the fishing rod catching scene done, where he's catching the bottle, and it looks pretty good. I'm interested to see what it looks like once it's fully rendered and once we have the animation all baked. Overall, I'm really happy with the results. Our next part is going to be his reaction and landing with the bottle in front of him. So what I'm thinking is, we're going to have the bottle shattered on the ground. We're going to show that, but we also need to show his reaction. I don't know which shot to do first, so I'm going to do them both and kind of see how it looks in post. When doing hand animation on legs in particular, the hardest thing and the biggest thing you want to avoid is floaty legs, and we've tried to keep the leg placement as close as possible, while still having that real kind of jagged animation that looks real nice and quirky. We are currently at the stage where our Welcome to the Summer Summit section is just about done. We've almost done the glow transition where he's sucked into the scroll, but we have one minor issue. We need to make him glow because in the Harry Potter scene, he glows and is sucked in. There's a big flash that fills the whole screen before it reveals just the book on the ground, and we want to have that same kind of feel to it. So to achieve that, we're going to do something a little bit special. What we're going to do is we're going to create a duplicate version of our character, and then we are going to attach it to the armor, just same as everything, but it's going to be invisible and it's going to cast no shadows. This is very important. When the time is right, they will appear and create a glow. So they will glow alongside of the scroll. That should hopefully communicate enough that they've been teleported by the scroll, especially if we match that with some really tasteful sound design. But so far, the piece is looking pretty slick. So 5 seconds ago, I just said that we are going to make our character teleport by duplicating them and having it exist throughout the whole scene and creating these materials that'll glow, key in, key out. But I've just found a much better way to do this, right? Check this out. We created a sphere that glows and eats him up. It's that easy, ladies and gentlemen. When you are working with Blender, one thing you should always remember, there is an easier way than whatever complicated way there is to solve the problem. It's true. So we are now at day 3, which is pretty cool and pretty exciting because this is where we move on to stage 2. And stage 2 requires our character to be teleported to the Summer Summit virtual room thing. When they're there, what they need to do is they're gonna fall out and they're gonna look up and the wise old man's gonna help them up and then it's gonna zoom out to show the entire summit and then it's gonna pan up to the sky where it will show the logo, fade to black. Nice, neat ending. There's a little bit of a problem. I can't visualize how this is gonna look. I can't sit down and visualize this entire scene laid out for me to build it. Because one thing that's very important with Blender is you only build what the camera sees. So we're gonna take a bit of a journey and we're gonna go back to basics with the old trusty pen to paper and storyboard this bad boy out. When we got that set up, then we'll be able to translate that into Blender. So let's get storyboarding. So we currently have our storyboard done. Whew. Now our next step is we have to make the scene where it's going to take place, and we're going to do it incrementally so we don't overbuild. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go into Blender and we're going to build our basic tropical island, and then what we're going to do is we're going to have our portal appear and we're going to do that first shot where our guy has to jump through the portal. Then from there we'll prep our wise old man model. It's going to be exciting. Yay! And we have a finished blockouts, which matches the storyboard pretty closely with one major change. I originally had the camera pulled back from our main character's perspective, but instead I've decided to have it pan around and show him like so. A couple of things left to do now. We need to block out the animation now, so we're going to now start to fill it out with a couple of our key most important frames, and then after that we will do our in-between, which will be cleaning up the animation, and then we have something worthwhile to render. So last night I rendered out every single shot, all of them, all done, all complete, all looking marvelous. And now it is time for what is my favorite part of the process, sound design. What's so cool about sound design is you literally take everything that exists and just make it better. But good sound design carries any project that you are working on. So we go through a bit of a process with this. Firstly, we lay out our essential sounds. That will be bottles crashing, portals opening. Then after that, we move on to do our less essential sounds, which is our ambient stuff, things like birds, seagull. What I'm looking forward to most is having a portal that really opens and sounds so juicy. It really has to have that huge impact. Also, I want to have the bottle really crash and hit the ground to sell that, because we don't really see the bottle crash, it's just kind of implied, so that has to really be sold by sound as well. Last couple of things is when a character hits the ground, that's going to sound super meaty and juicy. With that, it's time to do some sound design. Ooh, have a listen to that portal. We now have our core sound design done, and it sounds a bit like this. Our next step is to add in the ambient sounds, and the music is going to add the real feel to the animation, adds the mood and the ambience. The ambient sounds just kind of make everything sound real and solid, but what we're really going for is that very happy feel and stuff like that. So let's get started adding in music. And there we have it. The animation is complete, 100% done. And it's pretty cool. I'm really happy with it. Now, I thought we'd end the video not by just showing you the animation, because you've probably seen it before, whether it's in sponsored videos or on the official Old School Runescape channel. I thought it'd be much cooler to end the video by showing you the animation with all the stuff that has influenced the animation, so the various shot types and things like that. That'll be displayed down below. If you did enjoy this video, do make sure you give it a like and subscribe to the channel. We'll have lots more content coming. And yeah, check it out. Yeah.